Poseidon. You hear the name, and you probably picture crashing waves, maybe that big trident, earthquakes even.
Yeah, definitely. That's the standard image, right?
But what if that's just like scratching the surface, just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak?
Exactly. And that's what we're doing today. We're going deeper. We've looked at the myths, the hymns, art, encyclopedias, the whole lot.
Trying to piece together the full picture of his power, how the ancients really saw him.
It's not just about retelling stories. It's about understanding his actual significance.
Okay, so where do we start this deep dive to really get a feel for his influence?
Well, the obvious place is his main domain, the sea. He wasn't just a god of the sea. He was the Olympian god of the sea. Absolute control.
Absolute, like over everything. Tides, travel?
Everything. Think about it for ancient folks, sailors, fishermen, islanders. The sea was, well, it was life and dangerous. Poseidon held all the cards there. His mood could literally mean life or death.
Wow. Yeah, when you put it like that, it makes his power feel immense, just dominating that whole sphere.
And like you mentioned, it wasn't just the sea. There's the Earthshaker title.
Right. The earthquakes. That trident wasn't just for stirring up waves then.
Not at all. That name, Earthshaker, it was serious. He could literally crack the earth open, make mountains crumble, islands appear, or disappear.
So his reach went way inland, too, reshaping the actual landmass.
Pretty much. He had this incredible power over the physical world, both sea and land.
Okay, sea, earth, but then horses. That one always feels a bit out of left field. How does that connect?
Yeah, it seems disconnected at first glance. But think about the raw power, the untamed energy of waves crashing.
Okay.
They saw a similar kind of wild strength and spirit in horses. So Poseidon becomes their creator, their patron, and horses were vital, right?
Oh, absolutely. Transport, war, farming, everything.
Exactly. So that connection gives him this whole other layer of influence firmly on land. It's not just about water at all.
It's like different aspects of raw natural power. The sea, the earth, the horse, got it. And he was a builder, too. That seems different again.
It does, but it adds complexity. There's the myth about him and Apollo building the walls of Troy, huge, strong walls. That shows a constructive side.
Huh.
Practical application.
Right. And then you hear about his incredible palaces under the sea. That suggests not just power, but like divine craftsmanship within his own realm.
Okay, so he controlled elements, created things. Let's get into the stories, the myths. His origin story is pretty dramatic, isn't it? Swallowed by his dad.
Oh, yeah. Cronus, fearing prophecy, swallowed his kids, Poseidon included. Sets a certain tone, doesn't it? Serious family issues right from the start.
Definitely. But he gets out eventually, thanks to Zeus,
Or
right?
Zeus and Metis, depending on the version. But yeah, they're disgorged, and that's really the beginning of the Olympian era. Poseidon steps up to claim his place.
And that claim gets cemented in the Titanomachy, the big war against the Titans. He wasn't just sitting on the sidelines.
No way, he was right in there, fighting alongside Zeus. And that's when the Cyclops make his trident, a weapon basically forged in cosmic war.
Wow, so the Trident comes out of this epic conflict. And after they win, they divide the cosmos. Zeus gets the sky, Hades the underworld, and Poseidon, he draws the sea. That's how he gets his main domain officially.
The ultimate territory split. But sharing power doesn't always go smoothly, does it? He seemed to clash with other gods quite a bit. Athena, for instance.
The contest for Athens. Classic story. He offers the horsepower, maybe war. She offers the olive tree, peace, prosperity.
And Athens chose the olive tree. How did Poseidon take that?
Not well. He supposedly caused a drought or flooded the area, depending on the myth. It shows his pride, his reaction to being slighted. He expected his power to be recognized.
He really didn't like losing. And it wasn't just Athens, right? There were other cities.
Yeah, disputes over places like Trozen, Corinth, Argolis. It seems like there's this constant jostling for influence, defining boundaries.
And when he lost, more retaliation, drying up rivers.
Sometimes, yeah. It wasn't just petty anger, though. It was a demonstration. Don't forget, I still have power here, even if you chose someone else.
Yeah.
It kept mortals aware of the god's influence.
Makes sense. And his interactions weren't just with gods or cities. What about with mortals? The Troy story, again, he builds the walls, the king stiffs him.
King Laomedon, yeah, breaks his promise. So Poseidon sends a sea monster. Think of it as divine debt collection, but also a lesson about keeping your word to the gods.
A very forceful lesson. Okay, and then there's Odysseus, blinding Poseidon's son, Polyphemus the Cyclops. That didn't end well.
No, it did not. That act fuels Poseidon's rage throughout the entire Odyssey.
Hmm.
Odysseus's long, hard journey home is basically Poseidon making him pay relentlessly. It shows you don't mess with a god's family.
Right, intense anger. But wasn't there another side, more romantic, seductions,
Oh,
transformations?
definitely. He had numerous affairs with goddesses, nymphs, mortal women, sometimes transforming himself, famously pursuing Demeter as a stallion.
As a horse. Wow.
Yeah, it speaks to that primal, powerful energy again. And his children are incredibly varied heroes like Theseus, monsters like Polyphemus, magical horses like Pegasus and Arion. It's like his essence spread everywhere.
He's connected to so many different figures, both heroic and, well, monstrous.
Exactly. And don't forget the giants. He fought in the Gigantomachy too. There's a story of him crushing the giant Polybotes under the island of Kos. Just boom!
Talk about brute force. He seems central to establishing the Olympians' rule.
Absolutely. He was a key player in securing that order.
There are also these weird little family interactions, like freeing Ares from Hephaestus's trap.
Right, after Ares was caught with Aphrodite.
But then later, Poseidon accuses Ares of murdering his own son.
Hellarotheus, yeah. It shows the complex politics and legal system, I guess, among the gods. Alliances shift, rules get enforced, even between Olympians.
And what about Thetis? Both he and Zeus wanted to marry her.
Yes, but then they heard the prophecy. Her son would be greater than his father.
Uh-oh. For gods like Zeus and Poseidon, that's a major red flag.
A huge one, so they both backed off, which led to her marrying a mortal, Peleus, and having Achilles. A decision that massively impacted the Trojan War. Shows even gods heed fate sometimes.
Okay, myths, family drama. Got it. Let's talk about how people actually pictured him, worshipped him. What were the key symbols?
Number one, obviously, the trident. Made by the Cyclopes, symbol of sea power and earthquakes. Instantly recognizable.
The ultimate logo. Anything else?
Sometimes you see him with a rock covered in sea creatures. Appearance-wise, he could be majestic, robed, kingly, or more rugged, nude with just a cloak, often wearing a wreath of wild celery or a simple headband.
Last celery. Interesting. What about animals?
The bull is a big one, strength, maybe that volatile temper. The horse, of course, for his land connection. And the dolphin representing the sea's intelligence. Maybe its friendlier side.
And his chariot. Pulled by.
Pipcampoi, these amazing creatures, front half horse, back half fish tail. Super cool imagery. And we mentioned the Cretan bull myth earlier. That was the key sacred animal and story.
Right. Any sacred plants besides the celery?
The pine tree was also associated with him. And that wild celery wasn't just random. They used it to crown winners at the Isthmian Games, held in his honor near Corinth.
Ah, so connecting his symbols directly to his worship. Where was he most worshipped?
All over Greece and southern Italy, really, especially coastal areas. The Peloponnesus, Ionian coast, and definitely the Isthmus of Corinth. It was a major hub.
And how did they worship? What kind of offerings?
Bulls were common sacrifices, fitting his powerful nature. Also boars, rams. And in Argolis, interestingly, they even sacrificed horses.
Sacrificing horses makes sense given his connection.
Exactly. And the Isthmian Games were huge chariot races, horse races. Also the Pannonia festival for the Ionian cities. Lots of major events centered on him.
So he was deeply integrated into their religious life, their festivals, everything. Okay, let's try to pull this all together. What are the bigger ideas here? How did the ancients make sense of such a, well, powerful and complex god?
I think one major way was seeing him as the embodiment of nature's raw power, his temper. That's the sea's unpredictability, the earth's sudden violence, storms, earthquakes, things they couldn't control.
So personifying these huge, dangerous forces.
Exactly. Gives them a framework, maybe a way to try and appease or understand them.
And all those fights with other gods. Just squabbles or something more.
Probably more. They likely reflected the real-world tensions, the divisions of power, the constant negotiation of influence, both divine and maybe even human. It's about how order is maintained or challenged.
Mm-hmm. And the sea monsters. What's the thinking there?
Perhaps symbols of the unknown. The ocean deeps were mysterious, terrifying. Monsters could represent those hidden dangers, the anxieties about what lies beneath.
Okay, so he's this mix, creative, destructive, provider, threat. That duality feels key.
Absolutely. Like nature itself, right? It gives life, but it can also take it away in an instant. Poseidon captures that perfectly.
And his kids being such a mix, heroes and monsters, does that just show his widespread involvement?
Yeah, I think it symbolizes how connected he was to all aspects of the world. The civilized, the wild, the heroic, the chaotic. His influence was everywhere.
You also mentioned a subtle underworld link through earthquakes. That broadens his scope even more.
It does. It connects him to those chthonic, subterranean forces, maybe even the realm of the dead in a way. It's not just sea and surface land, it's deeper.
Right. What about his relationship with Zeus? Always number two, despite his power. Does that say anything?
It's interesting, isn't it? Maybe it reflects a hierarchy where the, let's say, Skyfather authority of Zeus, perhaps seen as more ordered or civilized, ranked above the more elemental, unpredictable power of Poseidon, a sort of nature versus cosmic law dynamic.
That's a fascinating thought, but maybe his true power wasn't about rank. Maybe it was in his changeability, like the ocean itself.
That's a really great point. The sea is always moving, transforming, creating, destroying. Maybe Poseidon's real essence is that dynamism, that ability to be many things at once.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, what's the big takeaway? What should we remember about Poseidon?
I think it's that he's so much more than just god of the sea. He embodies humanity's fundamental relationship with the powerful, untamed forces of nature, forces we still grapple with today, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Storms, earthquakes, they still remind us.
Exactly. His dual nature, benevolent, terrifying, still resonates. He reminds us of our place in a world that's both beautiful and incredibly powerful, and often, well, indifferent.
So his true might lies in that complexity, that fundamental connection to the physical world and its uncontrollable energies. Definitely a lot more going on than just a guy with a trident. My view certainly expanded. How about you? Makes you think.